Welcome back into the workshop, and this is a nothing video really, and it'll probably be titled as such, but one of the things with a track saw is the ability to cut thin fillets. It can be a bit tricky, can be. However, with the inclusion of this on either side of the track saw, thin fillets down to 1.5 millimeters is possible. It's not perfectly parallel, or the same thickness all the way along. It does vary a little bit, but probably because the material was doing that, probably as it was being cut. Probably, I'm guessing. But it can cut very, very thin strips, or whatever strip you want. These were just the offcuts when I was doing the previous video. The very first cut I'd ever made using the track saw system, and the first cut into my beautiful panel. The trick now is to remember to set the depth properly. Yeah, that was one of the design, I'm going to say criteria or criterion, whichever word it is, that I didn't want to put a channel in here like you see some. I think Peter Millard, is that? Yeah, I think Peter has done that. Or has he put a strip of custom wood in his? But there's a couple of people that I've seen, and they've actually put T-track in there, and that's a really, really good idea, but I didn't want to do it. One of the reasons is I wanted to make sure that the melamine that I'm cutting into is supporting the melamine I'm cutting, or whatever I'm cutting. Is that required? No, not really. I think the blade, well, it does a pretty darn good job, to be fair, and that's not a brand new one either, and it still did a pretty darn good job. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do that, because I knew, to have something like this, it is a sacrificial panel, but only in the sense that the whole thing can be removed and swapped out. Equally, the track itself can be stepped over many, many times. In this case, also, I'd probably, if I was to step it over across once, that means I've got one cut here, one cut here. Then I could spin it round, then I'd have another one and another one. So that's 4 just on that one face. Now, if I flipped it round that way, I get another 4 goes at the cut, if it was ever necessary. I did watch, however, a video, and the chap that had his top for, or like the track saw set up on his MFT, he said he's been running it for, I don't know, I can't remember, 6 months, 18 months, whatever. It was a period of time, and the cut still looked pretty fresh. And I thought, fine by me, that's all I need. I have seen others that don't look that fine. Yeah, not so good. The other thing is, if I want to do angled cuts, I can have one set up here like I've got, move it across to do the other angled cuts, or whatever it is, I don't know, 45 maybe, 30 maybe, I don't know. But that could cut into this section here. Once I'm done with those angled cuts, I can move the track saw rail back into its original position for square cutting. Or something. And it's the or something that I like to investigate a little bit further. Those thin cuts, though, were I was quite pleased to see how well they did cut. So, don't know why, but that may be if I want to cut, clashing strips. Normally, I've always had to do those on my bench saw, which is currently buried behind some other equipment. But now I can do rips reasonably accurately with the track saw. Now, you probably could always have done that anyway, depending on the thickness, but not this thin. So I'm just egging the cake a little bit extra, saying that this facility is going to be flexible. And what did I say? You could put this, and here's the next door neighbour again. How many times am I recording and he drives up in his bloody truck? Anyway, What did I say at the beginning? This mechanism can go over that side. But Dave, it gets in the way of the track. Really? Well, what say we put a panel like that. Now imagine this whole thing picked up, rotated round and put over that side. Now the same sort of adjustment can be used to push the desired panel into its correct position. So from this side we could be pushing out. This is with, sorry, I'll back this up. The reason I'm saying that is if you wanted to get thin cuts, you could have a piece like this, bulk up this, for underneath the panel, and the bit that you're actually wanting to cut can, of course, carry on out. You dial it up, remember, and this is all over the other side, over there, and you can dial it up and push the material being cut out by X millimeters, making your fillets, and it can keep on going until you wind up with nothing, effectively. The suggestion there, I had a wee bit of a think about it. You don't want it flopping around, and you want some pressure on it, so double-sided tape. This is the, now, God, I'm not doing very well with this. The packer piece, which is being forced out by the parallel guide, which has been placed on the other side, can have double-sided tape, and the bit that you're cutting can stick to it, meaning it is registered to the larger piece. So as it's coming right out, as it approaches, you can come virtually down. Remembering this is the piece that's just being pushed out by this, not the bit being cut. We can come right out and make it whatever size cut we want, because we know how thick it is by the number of turns on our rod. Still think the 6mm rod would be better, because you don't have to add or subtract or multiply the 0.25. This is a 1.25 pitch thread. So a 6mm has got a 1mm pitch. The only other one is 16mm, a little bit heavy for the scenario I'm talking about. It's got a 2mm pitch. But, and I'm not recommending this, I'm just bringing it up. If you had a particular sized rod that you wanted to use, let's just say, 8mm, not a threaded rod, just a rod, mild steel, you could use a die and put a 8 by 1mm pitch on it. I like that idea. Why do I like that idea? Well, the other day I was going to order another tap, and it was 1mm, and I saw that, hang on, 8mm, you can get a lot of different size taps with a 1mm pitch on it. And I'm going, oh, that's interesting. What size shaft? 8mm. Get an 8mm rod, plain steel, mild steel. Get the die, and away you go. Also get the tap at the same time, because you'll be wanting to tap, I'm going to suggest, the melamine or whatever you need. So get a matched pair. I've got a matched pair coming, not for this size, but in fact I forgot what size I've actually ordered. Oh my God, I've got so many little things going on that I order the little increments, and yeah. Oh well, we'll see. But yeah, thin strips, track saw. Okay, if you've already worked that one out yourself already, fantastic. This is just an idea because it feeds off of this parallel arm business, and it is dead solid in that way, but not dead solid that way, nor does it need to be. I will be investigating putting a spring on it, so it always wants to return back to the stopped position. Makes sense, doesn't it? Just doesn't have to be much. It's literally fingertip. There's no real friction in it, so no great friction. So a light spring would facilitate keeping it pushed up against the stop. Happy days. I'm just trying to think now what I'm going to do next, and it would probably start to look at the dimensions for the panels for the drawers. And after all, once they start getting cut, that'll absorb a lot of this material, which really does need to be either thrown out or cut into something useful. Boy, won't that be great. Still need to tune it in a little bit for the cuts. I want to get down to the, and if you haven't watched the previous video, naughty you, but I want to get down to at least 0.1 of a millimeter accuracy, at least, if not lower. At that resolution, that's the word I've been looking for, resolution, but at that resolution, the ability for it to be accurate in this position and then this other extended position becomes a little bit more demanding, and I have to then think where I can make any compensation if it's required. If I get it accurate and it all works in the manner that I think, no problem, but that's yet to be seen. When I made that first video of the very first cut, in the back of my mind, and I was trying to, well, I was not holding it back, but it was mulling around in the back of my head, because I've altered this piece by giving it a wee bit of a plane down and took a wee bit of off of here, and I found that I probably shouldn't have. I'm just wondering whether the very first cut was actually correct to begin with, and I've actually tweaked it in the wrong direction, inadvertently. And as I also said, there should be no difference between the measurement to the rails, the parallel rail and the traxel rail, and the cut itself. I should have the same tolerance, and I didn't. So there's a little bit of a query. I'm going to have to do a little bit more checking, and that's good. That helps. It also allows me to understand the use of and creation of. So if anyone wants to copy it, I can give sage advice by having also gone through that oh yes, of course type of situation. So I can give some insight to it. Okay. Oh, hang on. That's interesting. I'm going to have to mic it. I was measuring off of the edge of the... Oh, no. Sorry. Because originally I'd actually been measuring off of the actual part of the track that actually locates on. I'm wondering whether that's actually more beneficial to go off of that. I don't have a big enough digital caliper. That's only 150. You'd probably need bigger. I'm thinking now, and that's not a good thing because I go quiet, because I can't do two things at once. I'm a dude. Rightio. I'm off. Do some more of this. Figure it out, and let's see whether I make another video today. Okay, see you later now. Bye.